if I'm crushing it, it's mainly because I've put in the work without expecting anything in return first. And I feel like most people have that switched around. But rather they should start thinking, hey, I kind of like saying this, why don't I just multiply the time that I want to be successful by 10 and then understand that that's going to be the actual time that it's going to get me even close to success.
Wherever you guys are watching this show, I would truly appreciate it if you follow or subscribe. It helps a lot with the algorithm. It helps us get bigger and better guests, and it helps us grow the team. Truly means a lot. Thank you guys for supporting, and here's the episode. All right, my Bolivian brother, Deheza, coming on the show today.
Yeah, man.
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
It's fun to connect about that because, like I said, my fiance is Bolivian. I don't meet many Bolivian people, so represent, bro.
I know, especially out here in Vegas.
Yeah, and especially ones that are business, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah,
you're doing 8 figures a year. I'd love to dive into that. You basically build out sales teams, right?
Yeah. So mainly what I do is there's a lot of these high ticket offers that have lots of leverage with either lots of followers or they're an authority in the space. And honestly, a lot of times what ends up happening is the owner knows how to market themselves. They know how to sell a product in regards to the front end. But a lot of times they don't really know how to actually build a sales team. And what that means is they might be the only person who's actually selling, their product or their program. And that usually gets to around like 50K per month, maybe 100K per month. But eventually, if you want to scale those businesses, you definitely need closers, setters, DM setters, different departments, of course. But primarily, I focus on just building those sales teams to make sure that they can effectively just have the time they need to do, which is mainly focus on marketing, honestly, every day. And then just making sure I can recruit the best people and train them and manage them as well.
Right. So you come in when the business is already established, doing at least 50 to 100K a month. And from there, you help them scale to maybe 250, 500, right?
Yeah, 100%. So it really depends based on the leverage. And I'm probably going to say that word a lot. But if somebody is doing even 10, 20, or even 30K per month who probably doesn't have as much revenue coming in or cash collected. And if I see that business and they have the capability of scaling to 6-7 figures a month, that's kind of where I come in, chat with an owner, kind of negotiate a deal, to be honest, and just, talk about the potential of how it can actually get to another level as well.
Right. Yeah. What's the highest you've seen per month out of a client or someone you worked with?
The one that was doing around 750K.
Damn. What was he selling?
Yeah. E-commerce.
E-commerce coaching?
Yeah.
Wow. Was it drop shipping?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that wave was huge. Is it still it right now?
It's it now, but the thing is there are some big players in the actual space, but the reality is that there's a difference factor when it comes to people who can actually scale past a certain number. And again, that really comes to the team, right? So you can have a large social media presence, you can, have the best mentorship. Honestly, that doesn't matter, right? Because at the end of the day, if you come in and you have a team of A players, like I like saying it, then you know that every lead gets contacted, every booked appointment is qualified, and every call that comes in can actually get closed at a high closing percentage. Because there are other businesses who have that capability, but the reality is that they don't have a team because that's not their specialty. Their specialty is the results and marketing, and they're good at bringing in people. They just don't know how to close those people.
Nice. Which funnels have you seen success with? Say people are watching this, they want to get into coaching or launch a course. What should they do from there?
Yeah. My biggest thing is, again, I like using the highest leverage of making sure that on the marketing end, I'm a more of an IG social funnel type of guy. I know there's other people who run VSO ads right off the bat.
Yeah.
But I like primarily having trust, authority, nurturing with the IG followers, at least 100K followers, at the minimum. Maybe it's 50K if it's kind of like in a tight blue ocean kind of market.
Yeah.
But the funnel I like running is making sure that, there's a large following. We give away some resources, some giveaways, some poll votes. You have a team of DM setters that contact those leads. And then if they're not, qualified correctly, if they're kind of iffy, if they can't book directly to the closers, then you take them to, the appointment setter who ends up calling all the leads that are kind of the opt-in.
Shout out to the Science of Scaling podcast hosted by Mark Roberge. It's brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Each week, Mark, founding CRO at HubSpot CRO and senior lecturer at Harvard Business School, interviews some of the most successful sales leaders in tech to learn the secrets, strategies, and tactics to scaling company growth. He recently had on the head of sales from OpenAI, and that was a very interesting episode on the future of AI. Listen to the Science of Scaling wherever you get your podcast today.
Of the opt-in on the link in bio. So basically, to put in a gist, the funnel that I like running is people who have a large social media following. You have setters to contact those people. They've been nurtured for 3 to 6 months, maybe a year, because they've been following them. They built that trust. Then you have, really good A-player closers to close those leads as well.
Nice.
I always kind of explain this, like, would you rather, push a big boulder up a mountain, or would you rather go skiing down a mountain? And, I prefer skiing down a mountain, so I don't like running ads right off the bat because you don't necessarily have the right messaging in place. You don't know what's actually working out there for the market.
Yeah.
After 100, 200, 300K per month, then you can run IGDM ads, then you can run VSO ads, because you pretty much hit the nail on the head of what's working and what's closing as well.
Yeah, this is super exciting for me. Yeah. So like I'm doing about 150 a month right now, and I'm not doing any paid ads. So I feel like incorporating that could really ramp up revenue.
Yeah. I mean, are you doing mainly just for the podcast and such? Like,
yeah, people apply to come on, cold email, cold DMs, but that's it.
Yeah.
No paid ads.
Yeah, you can go horizontal too. Like I was actually thinking about it this morning. Like you have a large following, right? You can always do shout outs.
Yeah,
right.
I haven't done any of those either.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, you always could do shout outs because you have a large following, and people would pay. I mean, with that e-commerce software, we're paying for somebody who had 1 million or 2 million followers $2,000 per post.
On which page?
Wealth.
Oh, that's a good page.
Yeah.
Wealth, Millionaire Mentor.
Yeah, all those pages. We're paying $2K, and that was 2 or 3 years ago.
Nice.
So you can definitely, and then you can do that 2 or 3 times a day. You can always go horizontal. Another way of, I mean, you've built a podcast. You can teach other people doing a podcast.
That's on my that's on my peripheral, just like course or community.
Yeah, and then even if they were to sell a higher ticket, like if you were to sell like a 5K like mentorship, and then the 10K, 20K premiere is like you also promote them, so then their podcast becomes bigger as well. So there's a lot of like, I actually was thinking this morning, like I was like, when I had my coffee and was doing a little bit of work, I was like, what's his leverage, and you already have like, you have a ton of followers, man.
Yeah.
There's a big opportunity for you, to be honest.
Yeah, and on YouTube, we're growing 20K a day right now.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah, and then YouTube is honestly one of the best ways to kind of nurture people because of its long form content. So like people, you can just put a little link there, and then I have a guy that I just did a rev share deal with who has around 250,000 subscribers, and we implement like a link in there just to book a call, and we already got we're getting 100 leads a day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just from one video?
Basically just like we put the link in, the bio for all the videos on the channel.
Yeah.
And we kind of just created an opt-in form, email, phone number, and the past 3 days we've had over 300 leads. So now we really have to build a team, because it's just there's a ton of leads basically.
Yeah, so to handle that many leads, you probably need 5 closers?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, a lot of times it's only going to be maybe 10 to 20% of those leads that are qualified. So I would, in that scenario, I would probably put in 2 setters, appointment setters to hit them up, and then probably 2 closers. I usually like having the amount of setters you have or the amount of closers you should have, and each of them should actually bring in around 100K in rev each.
Interesting.
Yeah, for the closers. So you can predict, if I'm going to hit 500K a month in rev, I can have 5 closers, 5 setters. If you have a closer, you can have that closer doing 200K in rev, and it's a easy way to predict, where you want to actually project in the next coming months.
Right.
You kind of bring one in, and what I like doing, just a little side note, is I like having a team of 2 by 2, and then I don't like externally hiring somebody for a closer. I like internally promoting that setter, because now they know the system for 3 to 6 months, a year, and I just add on setters to that system.
Interesting.
So then you have somebody who comes in to kind of start, get their feet wet, and then they end up going to become a closer afterwards, because now they already done lots of calls, 15, 20-minute calls, and qualify those people as well.
Right. Wow. So it's like a system almost.
Yeah, 100%. It's a system. That's the system I like, because I found that if you externally promote somebody, even if they have the right experience, they typically aren't in a position where they kind of know the right messaging right off the bat. You might have that person who randomly does, but I prefer hungry setters who I tell them in 3 to 6 months, maybe a year, you'll become a closer if you kill it.
Mhm.
And the easiest way to do that as well is just hand them a couple calls and see if they can, actually close. And if not, they kind of know the answer, and you can't really deny if they're going to get, promoted to that or not.
Yeah.
And they'll work back up to it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
What's your biggest marketing spend? Is it Facebook ads?
It depends on the offer. I would say definitely Facebook ads for an offer, for mainly running IGDM and VSL ads. But the reality is you want 200 or 300K per month, maybe even 400K if it's a large amount of, I mean, you would just honestly, like you could probably hit 500K easily if you have the right systems. And
We're gonna talk after this.
yeah, you have a lot of, I mean, bro, you got 11 million followers. So like, typically you can max out maybe 300 to 400K a month organically. I like having that organic structure because now safely, unless IG and you do something and like you get taken down or whatever, but you safely have a foundation, right? Of like every single month I'm getting 200 or 300K per month because I have these nurtured followers. After that, once you have the right messaging in place, then you can run IGDM ads and you can hit the nail on the head because I have an offer that's less than $1. We're getting, leads, and we have around like a 15, 16, X ROAS because it's just like, we know the right exact messaging after doing this for like 6 months, and then you can run VSO ads. So, yeah, I guess the largest marketing spend ends up becoming IGDM and VSO ads, but you primarily want to have that foundation of a nice foundation of, you post a video up, you're going to get followers, you're going to get reach. DM setters can reach those people, and so on and so forth.
Interesting. Yeah. Where do the DM ads show up? I'm trying to think if I've seen those before.
The DM, you can make it mainly on the reels. I like making sure that it just does automatic placement, so it can kind of go anywhere. But typically, it'll show up in the IG stories, IG reels.
Oh, the stories.
Yeah, the feed. It usually just kind of auto populates, and the algorithm kind of feeds where it should be. But just to give an example, if let's say a social media profile, like a fitness offer, e-commerce offer, affiliate, whatever, let's say like there's a blueprint, and this is an example, a real example right now with a fitness offer I have. One of the blueprints in organic produces the most leads because we have an athlete that's associated with that blueprint. We kind of just use her as kind of like the cover of the blueprint. So therefore, if it works with this smaller, audience, then you run the same IGDM ads, use that same exact system and messaging and, framework on IGDM ads. And then that's where you can really make sure that you have, the highest, ROAS.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can do it based on a resource. You can do it based on a CTA, but it really depends what is working organically first, because now the messaging is correct. Everything's lined up correctly.
Yeah.
So then now you can put it into colder ads, but it's not too cold because you already have the data of what's working organically.
Yeah.
That's why you can hit the nail on the head.
Dude, I love that. 16 to 18x ROAS is the highest I've ever heard. So
yeah,
you're crushing.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's funny. Even the owner was like, how's this row? Like, is this good? And I was like, bro, like people love like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. So, I usually have to chill him out. I'm like, hey, like we're actually doing, I mean, I don't think he knows, so he's just like, is this good? I was like, bro, like we're making, 20K off of just spending a little bit of money.
I used to aim for 2 when I did e-commerce.
Yeah. I mean, like 2 or even 3 is like good. I think in the high ticket space, that's still decent. 3 to 5 ends up being good, but anything above, if you're in that 8 to 10, it's like, it's a ad or anything or ROAS.
Yeah, you're in a whole nother tier, man. That's dope. Is it scalable though? That's the question, right? Because how much are you spending to get those ROAS?
Yeah, right now we're spending $100 a day. What we need to do actually is build out more DM setters and more setters because there's more leads than we actually handle.
Wow,
that's honestly like
that's a good problem.
Yeah, that's a good problem, right? When you have too many leads and you're like trying to figure out the team. So it is scalable, mainly because you're always getting data. You can always test the data on your organic, page and kind of see, okay, does this resource work? What's, you're tracking that data. You just take that and put it into IGDM ads. And the testing, like, that's not too hard once you're already, a lot of people, when they end up testing, they kind of just test like, well, let's see if this, if I just throw this on the wall, if it works. You're pretty much testing something that you have a high, percentage of understanding that it's working or not, because you're getting the data from your social media page first.
Yeah.
So that's why it can get scalable. And when you have something that's working, I mean, I just talked to the owner, we're gonna end up spending $500 a day once we build out, more setters and DM setters.
Damn,
as well.
that'd be killing it. That's
yeah.
dope. Now, a lot of people try getting in the space, the info space, coaching, courses. Why do you think you were able to crush it? Did you start crushing it off the bat, or did it take some time?
I mean, bro, yeah. I mean, for me, I can talk sales. I can talk, reps who want to become into the sales space. I can talk people who also, want to kind of have their own product. I think a lot of people honestly just don't have the patience to kind of wait and kind of grow whatever they need to do. I have even pushed honestly my content because I feel like I'm always just working on the back end. And I know this year is the year where I'm going to actually push it out, but I'm more of a person of, I'm mainly doing the work. But for 7 to 8 years, I had my own fitness business. I was doing sales the whole time. Then I transitioned that to online because kind of me with that. I was in San Francisco. I had to move across the country. I grew that. Then I started helping other, fitness businesses on the side. And so the reason I feel like I understand sales is because I've probably done easily over 1,000 sales calls over the past, 7 to 8 years. And I've, managed, lots of different teams. I scaled the business to around 750K per month. It was part of that journey. I think if I'm crushing it, it's mainly because I've put in the work without expecting anything in return first. And I feel like most people have that switched around. They think in 2 or 3 months or 6 months, I should make this, but rather they should start thinking, hey, I kind of like saying this, why don't I just multiply the time that I want to be successful by 10 and then understand that that's going to be the actual time that it's going to get me even close to success.
Wow.
Right. So if it's like, I want to be successful in like 6 months, well then make it 60 months. Can people actually wait? But I think this new generation of, things have to be done so quick and like people kind of preaching all these get rich quick, schemes and all that, whether it's a scheme or not, I think that kind of gets people into the mindset of, oh, I'm not succeeding, I'm failing. And
are you interested in coming on the Digital Social Hour podcast as a guest? Well, click the application link below in the description of this video. We are always looking for cool stories, cool entrepreneurs to talk to about business and life. Click the application link below, and here's the episode, guys.
I even see a lot of sales reps, like they want to become a closer in like 2 months. I'm like, bro, like you literally just started 2 months ago. You're 19.
Yeah.
Like you're not like, you got.
How long would you say it takes to be?
I think now with the education and all the courses out there, all the offers out there, because now it's becoming like a big thing. I think it could take. I would rather tell somebody wait a year or two before you become a closer. Stay at a place for at least a year or two. Not only because you can get good at setting, you can start with those fundamental skills, but I think also because you get to see a business grow as well, and you get to understand the journey of the marketing department getting filled out, the sales department getting filled out, all that stuff. And so that in itself is a valuable skill that is priceless, because if you want to become a sales manager, if you want to, run your own offer, you can see something grow from, where it's at, which may be little to nothing, to, a higher amount. But you only can do that if you trust the actual like offer, and you have the patience to be there for a year or two.
Right.
I think there's more value in saying, I'll just wait here and actually just see what an actual business looks like, instead of just saying, I want to make, now 10K a month as a closer. It's like, bro, you're learning a lot more money, something more valuable when you're patient, you get to understand how the process looks like.
Yeah, learning's super important.
Yeah.
So I actually, when I get a good Facebook ad, I'll sign up just to see their funnel and study their marketing.
Yeah.
So I signed up for Cole Gordon's. I even
he
hopped
has a
on,
really good one.
Yeah, really good. I even hopped on calls with their teams just to study how they sell. He almost got me, bro. I mean, that
he's good. He's really tight too. He has like everything really tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no intention of buying, and he almost sold me a $10,000.
Oh, you hopped on a call?
I hopped on a sales call with one of his team, and I was just so impressed with the way he pulled up a Google Doc, had all these points. He was writing live on the call. It was impressive, man.
Was it for business mentorship, or was it like to become like, was it sales stuff?
It was similar to you. It was about scaling paid ads. So I was like, wow, this is a really good funnel. I mean, that dude's doing
he's doing
50 mil a year.
Yeah, he's doing really good. He has that was the boardroom that I went to. He calls it boardroom, but I just say mastermind because most people know what that means. When I was part of the journey of the e-commerce offer, and that's what kind of opened my eyes, because I was like, holy shit, like there's like over 100 businesses here, doing from 100K per month all the way to like 1.2, 1.1.
Yeah.
I grew up watching Elliot Hulse, and I was like, holy like right here, which is
That's
kind of
dope.
funny. But yeah, that was a couple years ago, and I feel like that I learned a lot because I understood what's really going on the inside, what's actually scaling people, and it's not just ads; it's also like being in like a blue ocean market, and it was just really interesting stories that I heard. The people who had like the best problems always were in these spaces that nobody ever heard of as well.
Like
So,
random niches.
dude, I mean, there's this guy who was he worked with Muslim men, ran YouTube ads so they can provide for their family for YouTube ads. So they would run YouTube ads to like create a business, and their internship was they became part of the program and then ran YouTube ads for them. And he would just say he had too many leads because like who the hell is like speaking to Muslim men trying to make more money and provide for their family on YouTube,
Yeah.
And he was just like, I have too many leads, and at that point I was like holy that's like
Wow.
like a really good problem to have.
Yeah.
Know?
So sometimes it's good to go a little specific, I guess.
I think it's good to go specific, but I think it should be authentic.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these like young cats just try to come in. They're like, I'm gonna go into this like do this e-commerce like I'm gonna go on Pinterest or Etsy, and it's like, have you done this yourself? And they're like, no, I just think it's like a good like way. So if you have the experience, obviously you've done something yourself, then it's good to hone in and be specific. I like saying authority, either having a large social media following, or being into something that's very specific, like a blue ocean market. If you layer those three, or at least have one of those, you have the ability to scale, and that's what I like seeing in different businesses.
Yeah,
kind of like understand their numbers, where they're at, so on and so forth.
I love that. I went through your YouTube. I pulled a couple interesting questions from there.
Yeah.
So do you believe loyalty can be taught, or is it something you're born with?
I believe both in a way. I believe somebody can almost have disloyalty and it can get taught through experiences. But from a perspective of me trying to hire somebody, what I typically see is if I were to make this like in this type of perspective in my own like life of what I'm looking for, I believe that as a person who is hiring a team member or a sales rep for an offer, I always make sure that I look for the first call if that person is loyal or not throughout questions that challenge their character, or if there are different things that just don't add up. Meaning like if I say like, why'd you get off this offer? And they're like, well, something happened, and then maybe I know about the offer, it didn't line up, or I really just try to have an eye for, is this person going to me or not, to be honest. And I found that I've gotten better at it. There's people who still have their selfish intentions. You can't control that. But even in the first like couple weeks, if things don't really add up, or if they're not really like doing their EOD reports, or it's just things seem fishy, I just rather just not have them part of the team, because if you have one bad apple, that can kind of just spread into the team.
Yeah.
And you want to have a good culture of people who are hungry, loyal, authentic. I've had times where wherever I go, even now, I have salespeople just always follow me. I have I guess the I wouldn't say privilege, but I'm fortunate that I have a lot of different sales reps in my past who are really we've created a strong bond, like a brotherhood, where since they're in all these different agencies, even if I'm not working with them or not, if I ask them for a sales rep, I just pretty much post a thread, and they post it into their Discord, Telegram of the actual sales agency. And that's how I get all the best sales reps, because I just shoot them a text, can you do this for this offer? And they just post it. I literally did this morning, and I got like 15 messages for a setter that we need.
That's dope.
So I think if I were to show loyalty to them, they show it to me. It builds that trust. And I think now it's really paying off, because if I go to an offer, the biggest leverage that I have is I can say, I know the top 4 or 5 sales agency spaces, and I can make sure that I can get the best reps out of those people.
Right.
Yeah.
I love what you said about the bad apple. The toughest fire I had to make was a couple years ago in my marketing agency. He was bringing in the most sales by 5x, but he was so negative.
Yeah.
In the group chat, one-on-one texts, and it was a tough decision, but I had to fire him.
Yeah, sometimes you have that. I had a closer he never wanted to be part of the team meetings. He always complained, but he was the best sales rep there. And you kind of know you have to let that person go, right? But then you kind of rationalize. I'm talking to myself when I say you. So like internally, you're like, the
money,
the money, right? It's like, it's like that, but it ends up reoccurring. And now I've learned that if I get that hint once, I'm already debating closer to letting them go. If I get it twice, then I'm like, that's a guaranteed, reason as to why I should let them go, because it's only going to persist.
Right.
It's gonna spread a little bit. It's gonna create that that culture that you don't really want, and it's better to have somebody that you can train up into that position who has a better character and
Agreed.
loyalty as well.
Yeah, it was tough, but I think it was the right move, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it always long term. You look back and you can actually start sensing like, okay, like that helps, because I mean, people talk about culture, but I feel like culture is something that is this kind of this presence. It's not really something tangible, right? But you can kind of feel it when you're on meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've always had it where it spreads, so I'm just like, I'd rather just not.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Cut it immediately.
Yeah.
You also made a video about dealing with clients that have an ego. What's the approach there?
Yeah. So I always like saying, BS their BS, right? They know it's a sales call. They know they don't want to open up. They know they're being a hard. They know they don't want to open up, right? So I always say, well, if they're going to do that, and there's other examples with objection handling, but this is in the discovery, they're going to not open up. You're asking the questions. They're like, what do you mean? Why not? Why am I getting asked all these questions? Bro, it's a sales call. Like, you signed up for this, like you got qualified, you put in your form or whatever. So an easy way to do that is not try to challenge people, like, in a way where you're doing ego versus ego, because that's like two bulls just fighting. You're never going to get anywhere, right? So I always say, take the under, kind of act confused, have a curious tone, just be like, well, I just don't really know how to help you, to be honest, right? That type of tonality. And it's because I don't really know, like, if there's any problems. And because of that, I just feel like it's probably just not a good fit, because I just don't know how to help you, right? So now you're kind of like, you're BSing their BS because they know they're not opening up. Now you kind of put it on them because they know that, you asked them this question or presented this type of frame, and they have two options. One, they could know, well, I actually am not opening up and I still want this. It's just my ego that's overcoming me to open up.
Right.
And their response could be like, I'm sorry. They might not say I'm sorry, but they might say, yeah, I mean, honestly, what's going on is da, 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 da. And they, talk about why they're on the call. Or they say, yeah, I actually don't think I don't think it's a good fit. And you already know, based on that you should cut the call short, because do you want that person as a client, right? And instead of wasting another 30 minutes to like pitch the program, go over rejection, you're just gonna put yourself in a wall. But I don't mind that, because that person's probably gonna be a future refund or chargeback, because they have a high ego, they're gonna complain, so on and so forth.
Yeah, you don't want those chargebacks, because then you'll lose the payment process.
Yeah, exactly.
And I heard in the coaching space they're pretty high numbers.
Yeah. I mean, one of the biggest things that I've two things that has helped overturn that is you want to have a strong agreement form, right? So I always make sure that after they pay the invoice, immediately after, go on whatever DocuSign or whatever portal that you use to sign, but a lot of times they say, well, you're going to get this email and then you're going to get access to the course, and they have logins to both or access to, sign the agreement. And sometimes they never do that. I like making sure that you answer all the questions on the call. If there's another call, it doesn't matter. You're saving yourself a chargeback or a future refund. Get them on a call, answer those specific questions, and make sure that in the actual agreement, you know that the person agrees to actually, say they're going to pay, and there's not going to be any chargeback. Literally has to be in like writing, like, I will not charge back, based on X, Y, and Z. So then you can overturn that when you have to go through a case. And then two, I always want to make sure that, let's say for e-commerce or fitness or affiliate, whatever, that you ask them the right questions for them to be successful. Do you have 2 or 3 hours a day to do this? If they're being a hard, I'd rather not sell that client, I'd rather just say, just give them the refund now, because it's going to be a future chargeback. So having a contractual agreement to make sure that they sign up on the call, to make sure they sign that after they pay, and also making sure that internally that they are actually a good fit, always reduces that amount, to make sure that you don't have to have chargebacks and you're and then you kind of go to different. Yeah, that's a whole story in itself. That ends up. I haven't gone through that, but I know that ends up becoming a big problem.
Yeah, that's smart. I haven't gone through a chargeback yet with this.
Yeah, I mean, bro, you provide
a lot of value.
So
I think if you're providing just value in general, you won't have to worry about that as much.
100%. I mean, I always believe that the best programs out there the real secret to really scale is to have maybe 25 to 50% of your sales coming in on the front end from like social media ads. But if you have your results down to a T, and actually, if it's a 16-week program, every month you track the data of what gets them successful. Then you have coaches to monitor that, and you have the real data with that. Then the real secret to scale beyond that is not trying to sell so many units on the front end, but understand that you can sell a higher ticket or continuation offer on the back end. That same offer we're running IGDM ads for the past 2 months, we had a 0% refund rate.
Wow.
Right? Meaning and we have 10 coaches, over 1,000 clients that come in over time. And so we're selling around 80 units per month. We're going to scale that with the team and everything. But now we've created a 5K mastermind, and now we're kind of getting to the point where we're not trying to sell, this type of offer, because it's a fitness offer, so it's 2K, 3K.
Right.
So to really pass, and you can do this in e-commerce affiliate, if you get the results and you understand what you can track to get the results, then you increase the lifetime value, the LTV, by making sure that you can I would prefer selling 50% on back end. And that way you have, you can have 400 or 500K on the front end and another 500K easy on the back end as well.
Yeah.
That's kind of currently where I'm at, kind of taking it from 300, 500K to kind of that.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Great to see that perspective. I had Vic Keller on here yesterday, who's probably almost a billionaire. He sold his company to Warren Buffett. He buys a ton of companies, and he was saying the same thing. He cares more about recurring revenue than people that rely on the funnel.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
the funnel could go away.
100%.
Facebook ads could raise their price. Something unexpected could
100%.
happen, which they've done many times.
Yeah.
So he likes people that have that recurring money.
Yeah, and what I've noticed as well, even on the front end, you can have different tiers, right? So I know in a specific industry, they were doing around almost 7 figures per month, selling something that's 2 or 3K, when most of the ticket prices are around 5 to 6K, even 10K. That for me broke my belief, saying, why don't I just create a smaller offer for 2 or 3K, because people actually want to buy that. So on the front end, you can have different offers that don't always cater to the main program that you want once you already have a foundation built. So there's another offer within the same industry where they're selling a $500 to $1,000 course through the DMs directly. And so on my end, I think you can maximize that by having different, they call it the value ladder, different tiers of the prices. And on the back end, once you already sold a customer or client, you can always upsell, cross-sell, downsell. And the more you become more creative in that way, then you can make sure you can squeeze that out as well.
Absolutely.
So eventually, once there's a foundation, I like squeezing out the front end, and I like squeezing out the back end as well.
Yeah, I love that. Dennis, it's been a pleasure, man. Where can people find you, and where can people work with you at?
Yeah, at IG at Dennis Deheza. A lot of people like saying Deheza, and on YouTube as well. Yeah, I'm starting to put some more videos. Honestly, just put everything I'm doing every single day there.
Perfect. We'll link it in the video. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah, man. Likewise.
Thanks for watching, guys, as always, and we'll see you next time.